Good to have you again. So, how to know you're feeding right? How do you know you feed right? Now, are you the type that is so stereotyped that you can eat some other foods and then you just want to eat this type of food because over time you've grown to love this type of food and then you can't just do away with it, forgetting that you need to get your food to be balanced, to be healthy. So you're going to know if you're feeding right or you're not feeding right. So today we will be looking at healthy feeding and eating practices. Yes, healthy feeding and eating practices. So as we proceed, there's some things you need to know and understand about today's topic. Now, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the meaning and function of food. And also, you should be able to explain the meaning and importance of healthy food habits. Also, you should be able to outline the guidelines for healthy eating habits and table manners. Also, you should be able to discuss the effects of unhealthy feeding practice. All this and more you would get to know in the course of this study. Are you ready? Let's get started. Now, okay, the human body is like a machine, okay? Now, if you do not get it to work, it's going to get stiff and rigid. It won't do any type of function. So your body needs this constant maintenance. You have to see to it that you're giving it what it needs by eating right and getting your meals balanced. And you need to ensure that you're doing this intentionally so you remain healthy and very, very fit. So the body is very, very, very useful to us, so we have to take good care of it. Now let's look at the meaning of food. I'm sure you know what food is. Now food is any liquid, either solid, material, which when we eat, it's digested and provides the body with nourishment and it keeps us healthy. Now whenever we eat food, its aim is to do what? To keep us healthy, to keep us fit, and to help us stay nourished. Now, food is anything that contains one or two or more nutrients, okay? Don't forget that. So not just everything is food. Now, if food must contain at least one or two or more nutrients, and then for it to be called food. Now, let's look at some of the functions of food. Now, food has a whole lot of functions they perform in our bodies, but we'll look at some of these functions that are very common or vital for our body when we take food. Now, it provides the body with heat and energy. When we eat food, it provides us with what? Heat and energy. And then it also helps in the growth and the repair of worn-out tissues and body tissues in our bodies, okay? So when you take food, it helps to do what? To repair. At the same time, it helps in growth of our body tissues. Now, worn-out tissues for those persons that are getting old. When you eat healthy food, it helps to do what? To repair worn-out tissue in these older or elderly ones as they tend to grow older. Now, also food can protect you from disease. When you eat food, it protects you from disease. Now, when you take food and your food is balanced, it can help you or shield you from random sicknesses and illness, okay? Now, food is necessary for good health and vitality. Now, when you take food, it is necessary. You would observe that when you don't eat food for a longer period of time, you feel like you're just giving up, you're fainting. Now, you need food to be very healthy, to be agile, and then for active, vitality is very, very important. These are some of the functions of food. Now, we want to look at food groups, okay? Now, we know our food groups, but we're going to look at them in more like, or let's say we're going to group them to see what they do. Now, foods can be grouped according to their nutrients, okay? What they contain, the nutrients they contain. This is how you can group them. Now, nutrients, don't forget, is the chemical substance found in food. So when you're talking about food, like I said earlier, it must do what? Contain one or more of these nutrients. So we're going to be looking at the food groups according to the nutrients that they contain. Now, the first one here is the bodybuilding food. Now, bodybuilding foods, these are very, very important, okay? They are proteinous, they are more or less like protein foods, Here they contain, some of them are your fish, your meat, milk, soya beans, and all of that. These aims at what? giving you to build your body, to build your bones and all of that, aims at building the body. So protein is very, very necessary and very okay for everybody to take, and it's very useful for growing children. They need a whole lot and quite a number of proteins in their diet because it helps them to grow actively as well. Now the next one is the energy food. Now these are carbohydrates and fats, okay? Now they supply energy as well in the absence of what? Protein when it is not there. So energy foods are very, very important. It's your activity kind of meal. It gives you the energy to go for. So energy foods are very, very important. You have some of these energy foods such as your yam, you have your carbs, carbohydrates. Most of these are your energy giving foods, okay? So you can, most of our staple foods here in this part of the world is majorly energy foods, carbs, okay? So yes, it helps us to be active. That's what carbohydrate does for the body, and it's okay. So it's grouped as what, or referred to as what, energy giving foods. Now the next one we have are what, protecting foods. These are very, very important. They protect the body from diseases. Now if you keep on taking some of these protecting food, they prevent you. One of the functions of food is that it protects you from what, diseases and illness. Okay, now when you keep taking your protecting food, what you're doing is you're building a shield, your immunity to actually fight against some common flus that could just go around and hit you because you are not actually taking enough of this vitamins and minerals that can help shield you a bit. So protecting foods are very, very important because it protects the body from what, diseases. So you can actually take your fruits, your veggies. They're very good for you to stay healthy. Now we also have raw veggies, fibers. Now it's very important as well. It's very, very important. And a lot of people do not really like a whole lot of some of these vegetables, but they are very, very important. Now what they do is that they help produce bulk or increase bulk in food to help you pull easily, makes it helps you to pull easily, okay? It helps to prevent constipation as well. So raw veggies, they contain this indigestible part of cellulose in them. So they're very, very good to you. So you should learn to take some of them. Your broccoli and your spinach and all of that, they're very, very okay for you to take. Now I want to look at feeding habits. Now I want to look at the meaning of feeding habits. Now a lot of people do not know that they have been stereotyped to a pattern of feeding over time because of their likes and dislikes. They don't like some certain type of food because some of these habits have been developed over time from when we're young because of what we have been used to eating, maybe because of what was available and what was affordable. And then over time, you just tend to love most of this food, not minding that they are not so healthy for you. Okay, now you just go out there and you pick the same food. Maybe you just go, if it's rice, you just keep taking rice over time, and it's not a good healthy kind of feeding for you. So feeding habits are everyday patterns of eating. The things we do every day, what you do every day can be referred to as your feeding pattern and your feeding habits. So we're going to look at some of these habits. So now we're going to look at healthy feeding habits. Now healthy feeding habit is very, very important. It's very, very important. You have to be very intentional and conscious in choosing your food and your diet, okay? Very, very conscious because we are what we eat. Don't forget that. Whatever you eat is very, very important. So you have to make that conscious effort to do what? See that you're eating healthy. Now, like we said earlier, we grouped some of our foods into different types of what? We grouped them into their groups depending on the nutrients that they have. So when you eat right, you're balancing your diet. That means you're taking from your protein, you're taking from your carbohydrates, you're taking from your your raw veggies, you're taking from your energy giving food, and you're just balancing them all. You're not leaving one out. One is not suffering because you want to eat this one because you like this other one more than this other one. So you have to be conscious to do what? To choose your meals. That way you are actually practicing a healthy feeding habit. Now let's look at unhealthy feeding habits. Unhealthy feeding habit. A lot of people are very vulnerable to not eating right, okay? You just speak anything and it goes down, and not minding what effect it has on the body. Now, this can be as a result from picking words or making poor food choices. When you make poor food choices, then you're not eating right. That's an unhealthy feeding habit that should be stopped, because over time it's going to cause more harm than good to your body, and then you might not like the effects of what you have been feeding or stocking your body with over time. So it should be not encouraged. Now let's look at the importance of healthy feeding habits. Very, very important. There are a whole lot of importance when it comes to eating right. Now the first thing is that you're going to look and feel better. When you eat right, your body will tell, okay, because you're going to look and feel better, and you're going to have more energy. When you've eaten the right food, you're going to have more energy. Sometimes you notice when you eat things that are not so good for your body, you tend to feel very heavy, and then you're so like, what have I done to myself? So you have more energy when you eat right. And another one is that your body would be equipped to do what? To heal fast. Now when you have any form of injury, because you're eating healthy, it won't overstay, it won't be there or just lingering. You're going to heal fast because you're eating right and properly, okay? Now when you don't take very good meals, you're going to be poorly nourished, and then whenever you're ill, you tend to see that you don't tend to recover fast, because your diet is saying no, you need to work on me. So you need to look at all of these and correct this, because the importance of healthy feeding habit can never be overemphasized. So it is important that you eat right. Now let's look at some guidelines for healthy feeding habits. How can you inculcate the habit of eating healthy? You need to eat variety of foods. Now you need to eat your carbohydrates, your protein foods, your protective foods such as the vitamins and minerals. You need to take a whole lot of them, and you need to take your raw veggies. And don't forget water. Water is important as well. Take a whole lot of them. You need to eat food from all the food groups like we stated earlier. Now you also need to balance the food you eat with physical activity, exercise. So after eating, don't just lay back or sit back. You need to do what? To put yourself to work, get to exercise, get to do something that will keep you active, okay? Also, always eat 3 balanced meals every day, okay? Now, if it's possible, make sure you eat your 3 balanced meals, not just a stereotyped type of food. Maybe you took bread and tea in the afternoon. You're taking your Gary flakes or whatever, or your cassava flakes and all of that. And in the evening, you're taking something. You're taking rice, the staple food. So you have to be intentional to see that you eat balanced meals every day, okay? Now you need to choose nutrients in a conscious way. You need to choose your nutrient foods in a conscious way. You have to make sure that you're choosing the right food at the right time. Very, very important. Now this calls for your intentional skills. You have to say, this is how I want it. This is what I want to do. I must eat this food, and be intentional about it. Now also you need to choose diet with plenty of grain products, vegetables and fruits. Yes, you have to be intentional as well. Choose vegetables, eat fruits, and take plenty of grain products. We have them here, so to keep you healthy. Another one is that do not overeat. Now, overeating doesn't mean you're eating healthy. You can be causing more harm, not forgetting obesity, okay? So please, when you're eating, do not overeat. Even while you're trying to balance your meal, do not overeat. And also use food in season. Use foods in season. Very, very important. When foods are in season, it's a good time to get a whole lot of nutrients, because they are fresh from the farm and they are a whole lot around. You find them available everywhere. You know, in season to this period, we have mango, we have carrots. Just go out, pick them, eat enough of them when they're in season, because the nutrients are high in them as at that time. When they're out of season, you know, they tend to preserve them and make them stay longer. So you might not really get the whole of the nutrients at that point in time. But when foods are in season, make sure to eat a whole lot of them so as to get a whole lot of nutrients from them before they are out of season. Very, very important. Now let's look at table manners. Okay, now these are some of the aspects that are related to healthy feeding habits. Now, table manners, these are the practices that you do when you are about to eat or when you eat. Now, when you are eating on the table, do not put too much food into your mouth at a time. Okay, you have to take the bites that you can chew, not to stuff your mouth with a whole lot of food and you're finding it hard to chew them. So that's not a good table manners. Do not do that. Another one is that chew your food properly. Chew them properly before you swallow. Okay, don't just pack food into your mouth and then you're swallowing it. So you have to chew your food properly. Another one is that do not talk with food in your mouth. There are a whole lot of table manners, a whole lot. Okay, now do not talk with food in your mouth. A lot of people do that and it's quite disgusting. Okay, for someone to see what you're eating in your mouth while you're talking. So the best thing you should do is not to talk while you have food in your mouth. If someone has to talk to you, just tell them, hold on, I'm eating, and then you can talk, rather than talking and, you know, everyone can see what you're eating in your mouth. Do not talk while you have food in your mouth. Another one is that close your mouth when chewing food. Do not make sounds. Okay, you're eating and someone would have to look and say, what's happening here? So do not make sounds while you're eating. Make sure you close your mouth while you're eating. There are a whole lot of table manners, but we're just going to stick with these ones. And also you have to, don't talk about badly prepared food. This is one table manner. Don't talk about badly prepared food. If you're invited to eat and you're eating, if the food is not well cooked, you just don't say so much, don't say anything. But when the food is good, you need to comment on it and say and appreciate the person, but do not comment on badly prepared food. Okay, another one is that never use the knife to put into your mouth. Okay, when you're eating with your cutleries, the knife is not supposed to go to your mouth. Do not do that, it's wrong. Now also, always wash your hands before and after eating. Before you eat, make sure you wash your hands, and after you're done eating, you should do what? Wash your hands as well. Avoid picking your teeth with your fingernails. Now, a whole lot of people do that. It is not good. Do not do that. Don't pick your teeth with your fingernails. Use a toothpick to do that. And also, do not put too much food in your mouth at a time. Okay, pick what you can chew, like we said earlier. Do not do that. These are not good table manner practices. Now, let's move on. Now, we want to look at the effects of unhealthy feeding practices. Now, whatever is good, there's always some bad aspects to it as well. Now, there are different types of unhealthy feeding practices. Okay, now they do have their negative effects on the body. Like I said earlier, they do have their negative effect on the body. Some of these effects could be that it could result to obesity. Now, you see people that are extremely fat, that they cannot control it anymore. Now, when you are not eating right, you can be obese. So it is not good to be that way. It results to a whole lot of health complications. And also, when you don't eat right, unhealthy feeding habit can lead to underweight. For babies and all of even adults, when you don't eat right, you're going to be underweight. And then your weight will not be, when you're underweight, that means you don't have the accurate weight for your age. So it is not okay. And also another one is that marmos can be visible. This is mostly common with children. So this can be avoided when we do what? Eat healthy. So you can actually not have to experience a whole lot of these unhealthy feeding practices and illnesses that do not affect the body properly or well. You can avoid them by doing what? Eating healthy. Now, another effect of unhealthy eating habit is that it results in stomach ache. When you don't eat healthy, you could feel aches in your stomach because you have overeaten. So do not Do not. Another one is the skipping of meals or not eating at regular intervals can lead to stomach ache. And a whole lot of people, for not such good visible reasons, say, I don't like to take breakfast. I don't know. I won't take breakfast. I'll take lunch and I'll take dinner, or I'll take breakfast and I don't take lunch. No, fun. That you don't have any reason to skip meals, especially your breakfast. It's okay that you take your breakfast every morning. Very, very important. Do not skip meals. If you do this if you keep doing this regularly, you're going to be causing yourself more harm than good. You could get stomach aches at intervals, so do not do it. Also, eating with dirty hands could lead to bacterial infection. It's very important you wash your hands after eating and before eating, like we said. So if you don't do this, you can actually introduce some bacteria infection into the system. Also, talking in food in your mouth can lead to choking, which could be a serious problem to your health. So you don't talk with food in your mouth so you don't get choked. Now let's look at food additives. There are some food additives that are added to food when they are prepared. Now some of these food additives are good, while some of them are not good. When we add these food additives to our food, some of them is to improve the flavor and to improve texture of the food. Okay, now they have some of their characteristics and also their disadvantages as well. Now let's look at some of these uses of additives in food. Some of them of these agents are good to the body to improve, like I said, to improve texture and flavor of the food. Some of them are used for coloring, like your turmeric can be used for coloring. Some of them are used for bleaching. Some of them are used for emulsifying, to make the food or the product of what you're making look tender and, moist. Also for gelling, some of these food additives used is for gelling as well. For thickening, another one is for thickening, used to thicken the food. Another is for glazing, to make your pastry or your food have this, shiny effect, or polishing. Okay. Now another one is for sweetening, to make the food sweet. Now another one is that they are used to do what? To preservation. You use them to preserve the food. Now there are also misuses of food additives, in as much as they are good to help increase flavor and texture in our food, but they can be misused as well. Okay, now when you say you're misusing food additives, that means you are actually using expired additive products. Okay, maybe they are already expired and they were used for food. This is wrong. Another one is that the use of wrong quality or additives in food. Now people there's something they call adulteration. Okay, now they add products that are not good into the meal, and this can cause ill health to the body. Now let me give one of these instances. When you talk about bromate, you see your bread, you say bromate and saccharin free. Now these are additives, yes, but they are harmful to the body, so it is not advisable to have bromate in your bread. So these are some of the additives that are not okay. Now, use of additives banned by relevant government agencies. Now some of these additives are not okay. Regulatory bodies have come to say, don't use this, it shouldn't be used. So for no reason should anybody that's a manufacturer or a producer to use these ingredients, then these are bad, because it causes harm to the human body. Another one we'll look at is food contaminants. Okay, now these are substances or materials that can introduce impurities or foreign objects to our food to cause it to become toxic. So these food contaminants are dangerous, so they are not okay because they can introduce harmful substances to the human body. Now, how do we prevent food from getting spoiled? Ways of preventing food from getting spoiled. Now, you have to observe cleanliness in food preparation. Absolute cleanliness. Okay, you have to make sure that everything you're using to cook and prepare the food is clean. So you must observe absolute cleanliness in food preparation. Another one is that you need to apply good sanitary practices in handling food. You need to apply good sanitary practices in handling food. Make sure everything that you're using is good. The environment is clean. The cutleries, everything you are going to use is clean. Now, keeping cooking and serving utensils, dishes, cutlery clean. Now, if you're not going to be using them at that point in time, you can cover them, close them, so dust and insects don't perch on them until you're ready to use them. Okay, now also you need to properly store your food. It's very important you learn to store the food that you have prepared. Cover them so they are not infected by pests or pets, okay, around the house. Also, you need to properly preserve the food. Proper preservation of food, very, very important. Now, if these foods are going to be kept for a longer period of time, maybe you've made something and you want to keep them, make sure you have used the right preservative method. Is that you're going to be keeping it in your cupboard, in an airtight container, or you're going to be putting whatever you've prepared in the freezer. Okay, now you have to make sure that whatever device or means you want to actually use, you need to ensure that it is okay so that your food will be properly preserved. Okay, let's look at some quick practice questions from our ExamGuide app and see what we have learned so far today. Let's look at this question. Which of the following is not a function of carbohydrates? Which of the following is not a function of carbohydrates? A, we have provides energy for doing work. B, maintain body temperature. C, prevents constipation. D, improves bowel movement. E, protects vital organs in the body. So which of these is not a function of carbohydrates? Now, the answer here, carbohydrate provides energy for doing work. It maintains body temperature, yes, in the absence of fats and oil, it does that. It can also prevent constipation. It improves bowel movement. So the option here is protects vital organs in the body. This answer is not the function of carbohydrates. So E is the correct answer here. Protects vital organs in the body. That's not the function of carbohydrates. Now, healthy handling of food improves its A, we have flavor. B, we have quantity. C, we have texture. D, safety. E, color. Now, healthy handling of food improves. Does it improve the flavor? Does it improve the quantity? Does it improve the texture? Does it improve the safety? Does it improve the color? So the right answer for this question is that it does what? Improve its what? Safety. Now, when foods are handled properly, they are going to be safe for consumption. So the correct answer here is safety. Healthy handling of food improves its what? Its safety. Now, to prevent food contamination from pests, food stores, door, and windows should be covered with A, curtain, B, wire net, C, white cloth, D, iron bar, E, rubber net. Now, to prevent food contamination from pets, food stores, doors, and windows should be covered with A, is it curtain, B, wire net, C, white cloth, D, iron bar, E, rubber net. So the correct answer here is wire net. Okay, it should be screened. The door should be screened. Now, it's wire net. So this is the correct answer. Okay, in keeping food safe, the homemaker should A, cook food at high temperature, leave working surface unclean, maintain good hygiene, keep meals cold after cooking, leaves, fruits, and vegetables covered. Now the correct answer here is what? Maintain good hygiene. For the homemaker to keep food safe, she would have to maintain good and proper hygiene, which is very, very important to see that food is safe for the family's what? Consumption. Okay, how can we develop a healthy feeding habit? How can we develop a healthy feeding habit? By A, eating once daily, choosing nutritious meal in a conscious way, C, excessive appetite, sweets, D, eating junks regularly, E, skipping meals within the day. So how can we develop healthy feeding habits? I'm sure you remember. Now, is it by eating once daily? Is it by choosing nutritious meal in a conscious way? Is it by excessive appetite, sweet? And then is it by eating junks regularly? Is it by skipping meals within the day? Okay, so the correct answer here is choosing nutritious meal in a conscious way. You know, we said we have to be intentional. You have to be intentional to choose the correct meal to see that you are eating healthy and to stay fit. Thank you for participating in today's class. You can practice more questions using the ExamGuide app. Now, the app scores and gives a detailed explanation of all the questions at the end of your practice test. You can learn a particular topic of interest with different modes like the study mode, mock mode, and practice mode. It also has other features that make learning fun. It is a must-have for every serious student. I know you're that serious student. Now you can download the app from www.examguide.com. If you don't have it yet, please do. Now see you in our next class. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and share the videos to your friends, your family. I'm sure they'll benefit from it as well. Bye for now.